Hello, I just wanted to show you this little book that I've bought. It's a bit shiny, so it's difficult to see. But I got some of my artwork made into a little book, and it was free. It came from Free Prints Photo Books. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I did have to pay postage and packing, which was £6, and it came in about a week. And I just wanted to put some of my artwork and tools into a little book like this, really, so that I'd got them all together so that I could take them about with me and to see what the quality was like. And I just thought maybe we could go through this together. I think you might find that relaxing. Okay, so the start, I've got Look for the Bright Spots, and that's really about when the sky seems dark, there's always stars to look for. And that just reminds me that there's good stuff in the difficult times. And it was really lovely to make this. I made it from a photo of the lights that my galaxy lamp cast on my wall and ceiling in here. And I swirled them around in Procreate. I liquefied the digital paint and yeah, made it into this. So it was great fun to do. Let's see what's inside. Oh, so this says thriving sometimes. Let's focus in there. And that's just a phrase that I use to help me when things seem difficult. I think sometimes there's this sort of tendency to try to aim to be happy all the time and to thrive all the time. And it's really easy then to sort of get despondent and think, that's not possible for whatever reason. But if I add a ... sometimes, I can always thrive sometimes. I can always be thriving sometimes. So I've added lots of creatures around here. There's a ladybird, snail, some birds sort of flying off with some little love hearts. It's a tiny spider, but it's a friendly spider. And there's some signs of spirals in nature, which is something that, yeah, I really like to spot, and some signs of the change in seasons and cycles of things. Let's see what's on the next page. Oh yeah, I remember this one was just an early digital picture. I just really like the idea of putting stars in a band inside the earth and then stars up in the sky. You can't quite see that one. And then I've done a little house, a couple of little buildings and some trees there. Moving on to this one, creativity can be an act of self-care. That's definitely true for me. I'd love to hear if that's true for you, and if it is, then how you go about doing that. You know, what creativity, what creative pursuits do you do to look after yourself? Well, I find that concentrating on beautiful colours, concentrating on the agency that we have to make something from nothing, and yeah, just really concentrating on something either tactile, actual paint, physical paint, or pencils, or whatever art form you want to do, or more of a sort of quick start art, which was this was digital art. Either way, is something that really I find really helpful and really enjoyable, and it lets me drift into that beautiful flow state. And often in a lot of my pictures there's a kind of gap where you can see through to another world, or to space, or to something beautiful. So that's that. There's a definite theme with a lot of my colours. These ones are slightly different. So this one says, self-care is kindness, compassion and love that doesn't need to be deserved, earned or justified. And that's like a really important message, I think, for me to remember. I've added some different sorts of creatures here, sort of exotic ones like the chameleon and axolotl, I think this is how you say that, axolotl. Unusual creatures. And then like a puppy kitten, and like there's all sorts of tiny animals here as well, little mouse and a rabbit. And it's just to sort of remind me that we're all different and we might need different things and different ways of caring. And it's also to sort of point out for me like how much care we give our animals, our friends, lots of relationships in our world, but like our kindness and compassion and love is sort of incomplete if we don't include ourselves in that, and it's not something that you should have to earn, certainly not from yourself as well. So that was a good one to do. Again, spirals. I think what it is about spirals, apart from the fact of how beautiful they are and how aesthetic they are and how they crop up in nature, is that it can often seem on a spiral that you're going round and round and round, which of course you are, and you're coming back to the same point again and again, but it's not like a circle, it's never exactly the same point. It's adjacent, look, but there's progress, things are changing, because the spiral is changing and you are changing as well. You are different each time you go around, and I like that concept. It's a big comfort to me. I love the bright colours. Lean into joy. This was a great one to do. There's a beautiful little dog there. It's just sat sheltering from the rain, and it's sort of playing with the idea of dancing in the rain, really. That the rain is coming down and feeding watering the plant, and yeah, that there's rainy times and times where it's where things might be going better, but it's about, for me this one reminds me to just lean into the little things that are good, whatever they are, if that's going for a wet walk, or if it's time with your pets, or if it's seeing things in nature. This little tiny snail, there's another spiral there, but really leaning into that and not being afraid to enjoy things like that. It's not just for children. It's just children know how to do this, and we forget as we get to be adults. So it's good to revisit those sort of themes, I think, and really savour stuff. Another spiral, lovely spiral again here. This is a snail. I've just sort of done a suggestion of the sort of snaily body and the snaily eye there. It's all about the shell, which again is spirals. I've sort of added some stuff to do with the seasons changing here. And the words, I'll read them out to you. It says, twirl and unwind, steady now, hold on tight. Allow yourselves to be carried and held. Spin out and up. Allow yourselves to be carried and held. Hold on tight. Bloom, hug the bends. Love is here. This way. Growth. Let go. Pause. Rest and shelter. Play wild and free. Rise and lift up, up. And then the outside it says, you can catch up on the next go around. The steady paths can bend and swirl. Fresh starts, find the anchors and use them gently. Lean into it. They were really comforting words for me. And it was fun to do all the little pictures of the things happening to the snail there. He's resting. He's in the autumn. There's areas of growth. He's wild and free there. I don't know how a snail behaves when it's wild and free, but it's a nice thought, isn't it? So this again was another digital picture where I was sort of playing with the night sky and sort of fireworks or streams of light and the water. I think originally it was a lot more defined as as an island, but I liquefied it and pulled some of the digital paint around, just to make it a bit more swooshy. Again, spiral scan. This is neurographic art, which is made by dividing the page up really quite roughly and then rounding off every intersection with the black. And I used some watercolour to colour these in. They kind of remind me of pebbles or sweets. Be extra kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can. Yeah, this is really a bit of a pep talk. Yeah, I think a lot of us are doing the best we can. But it's also a reminder that doing your best and being kind to yourself should be things that happen at the same time. That if you feel that you're doing your best all the time, you're being really unkind to yourself, then that's not going to be helpful in the long term. It might get you places in the short term, but be extra kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can. It's just, yeah, it's something I find helpful. Cultivate your garden. Oh, I remember doing this one. There's a little mole there and there's a squirrel in the tree. I don't know if you can see that. This was for a poem about communication, about it's called I Throw the Ball. It was about ways of communicating and how that's different for everyone. Cultivate your garden is something that I think about, not just in my actual garden outside, which needs some attention, to be honest, but in the support that I give myself in ways that I can change my environment, both my internal environment of like how I talk to myself and how I relate to other people, but also my physical environment. And as I look around the room now, I can see that there are fairy lights. There's a really lovely rainbow shower curtain that's hanging because I like bright colours, and I've got all my things around me. So yeah, that's a way of cultivating a nice environment for myself that's supportive. This one was one I did in an art class, an online art class. It's called Steady. It's about holding and standing steady and trusting yourself when you're going into slightly unpredictable situations, and trusting that you're going to navigate through that tunnel. I wanted it to be in two different styles of sort of storybook, I don't know, like Ladybird book or Penguin book style here, a really bold boat, and then very super watery canal, and yeah, sorry, there's a little bit of noise outside, so let's just pretend that there isn't for a bit. Yeah, and I was quite pleased with how it worked out. I did some gel pen on here. It was watercolour and micron pen, and I did some white gel pen here and some what do you call that stuff, masking liquid, to keep the white and give water a bit of a shimmer. And talking of shimmer, this one, yeah, this was a picture of something in nature, I can't quite remember what, that I swirled in Procreate and added these sparkly fish by drawing them with my Apple Pencil, and add in the little stars, which is, yeah, it's kind of an effect that you can do, starburst type effect in Procreate. That one was fun. This one, you've seen this one before. Do you remember? Let's go back and check. It's that one. I realised not that long ago, to be honest, that I could load pictures of my physical artwork or my digital artwork back into Procreate, could liquefy the picture, and then could make completely new art. And it really reminded me that you can see the same thing with different perspectives. It can look completely different. It's a really good way of like multi-purposing one piece of art, and you get lots of really nice effects. Like here, it really reminds me of the sky with the sun behind a cloud. These little things that look a little bit like dragons to me, they're the bit on the landscape where the little house and the trees are, and they've swirled to become something completely different. And yeah, it just reminds me we can have a different perspective on something, and something new can come out of something old. Things can be restoried in a way that is yeah, more supportive for you now and more true to the things that you now know, rather than when you were perhaps a bit younger and a little bit more naive about things. Not that I'm old and wise, but you get the idea. This one was a picture of a thistle, a purple thistle, with some green leaves. I think it looks a little bit like either a butterfly wing or like a fairy wing. I really love the contrast of colours. I've added some other different effects here and swirled, and this is like a real zoom in as well. And I wouldn't have put these colours together, but nature put them together, and I think that that's kind of a magical thing. This one, oh yes, this one is from a actual piece of neurographic style art that I did, which I think this is in a video that I did called Quick Start Art. I really like these neon pens on black card. They really pop out. This part is the card that I've just showed you. I kind of moved it about a little bit, added some different bits and effects, and then flipped it 4 times to make this sort of kaleidoscopic, glowing mandala type effect. And it kind of reminds me of a butterfly in the middle, and it's great because you don't really know exactly what you're going to get, and you can pick out bits to highlight and to add things. That was fun. This was an actual caterpillar in my garden. There were lots and lots of these. I think they're cinnabar moth caterpillars. They completely stripped the plant in the garden. But yeah, it was great to watch them for a few days while they sort of grew, and they're very vibrant. And again, this is 2 different styles, quite realistic-y type painting that I was going for here, with the watercolour. And then here, this sort of really blotchy, watery watercolour with some quite sketchy sort of suggestions of plants over the top. Quite like both and, rather than either or. And that again reminds me of lots of different things in life that might be bittersweet. Yeah, enjoyed doing that one. Coming to the end now. This one, creativity can be self-care. It's very true for me. Not just in how something turns out, although it is lovely to look at brightly coloured things and know that I've made something, but the actual process of making something is very relaxing for me. It puts me into a flow state. It reduces the load on my brain down to just a blissful level, and gives me a direct feedback that I have agency over things, because I can make something and create something in the moment. And then when I look at the picture later, it reminds me of how I felt. So art is really, creativity is really sort of a multi-purpose tool for me. It also reminds me a little bit of licorice all sorts, this, and sweets, or sherbet from my childhood, that rainbow sherbet that used to be in the big old jars at the corner shop. So nice. And this is from a mindful music video that I did, which is, yeah, it should be on YouTube, called One Breath. This little flower was breathing in and out, and it was a very simple looking video that took an awful long time. I don't tend to do so many of those now because they're so labour intensive, but I'm very pleased that I've done them. And yeah, I really love this sort of lilac colour, so I like the simplicity of some of these things. And then, yeah, the last page, creative self-care, that's what it's all about for me. This is the view that I can sort of see that away at my desk. I did it with micron pen and then painted it with watercolour, and I painted this watercolour box with the watercolours that are in this box, if that makes sense to you. Which was, yeah, it was fun. And I wanted this to look illustrative and bookish, so I'm really pleased that it's in a book now, and that they're all together. I added this on the back, now is where you belong, because it just reminds me about mindfulness really, and about being in the moment. And when I am looking at this art, I'm very much in the moment, and thinking about nothing else other than what I'm telling you. And it's this is going to go in a little bag for me for times when I need a bit of a colour boost, when I need to remind myself of all the sort of principles that this artwork support. And yeah, I really hope that you've enjoyed listening. I'm really touched if you've listened all the way through. Please let me know what it is about the video that you've enjoyed. If it's something that's helped you wind down at the end of the day, or if it's something that's helped give you some ideas for creativity and how you can use it in your life. And I really hope I'm going to make some more videos for you soon. So take care, won't you? And be extra kind to yourself.